All right, I think we are good to go whenever you're ready, Mayor.
All right, I'd like to call this budget meeting to order. If we could have a moment of silence. Okay, appreciate everybody joining, and I think you all have gotten a package from Amy, but I will turn it over to her. And again, just apologies in advance from my perspective. Some of the technical issues here, so I'm just on the phone and not able to see. But Jennifer, you could help me when somebody has a question, I'd appreciate it. So Amy, turn it over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. We'll start with the tourism draft budgets because I know there'll be some discussion on the general fund and enterprise fund budgets. So, 2025 amended budgets and 26 budgets for tourism funds. We'll start with our projections for a state aid tax. We're projecting 11.6 million for 26, 11.2 for 2025 is what we budgeted. We're estimating around that amount. So not a huge increase there because we are seeing leveling off of these revenues. Same with municipal aid tax. These are just modest increases. Hospitality has pretty much flatlined, so we're leaving that budget the same for 2026. I'll go into them in detail. So state aid tax, what's included is our contribution to the CVB, which is required by state law, a transfer to the general fund, which is also required by state law, a contribution to the DASH, there's some debt service, our city-sponsored events for Piccolos, Play-Doh, Moja, the Charleston Farmers Market, and Holiday Magic. Visitor Center operations, we have 3 projects included. The Brittle Bank Park Boardwalk, which is replacing boardwalk material that is deteriorating. Bragg Square wall repairs, it's repointing the corner columns. And Waterfront Park hardscape renovation, which is renovating the garden rooms and mitigating trip hazards. 15% of it also will go towards workforce housing. And then the remaining goes towards grants for nonprofit entities. The accommodations committee meets on Thursday to finalize the awards. So we don't have a detail of that yet, but we'll bring that to you later. And this is what it looks like. So everything I just mentioned, those are the contributions to that. 2.5 million going to grant subtotals, which will be allocated out to all those grantees, finalized on Thursday.
And Mayor, Councilmember Parker has her hand up.
Okay, Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Just to clarify, I haven't received this in my email.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Parker, I can't hear you.
I haven't received.
She hasn't received anything.
No, you haven't. You got the agenda. We're just going through all of this now. Nobody got anything before today.
Okay.
Amended 2025 budget. I just highlighted the areas that we're amending. Fund balance increase was due to projects, which are also highlighted, the Dock Street Theater, LED lighting, Maritime Center dock repairs, and Angel Oak improvements. Any questions there? All right, moving on to municipal accommodations. It's 2% for overnight lodging, 2 separate ordinances. 1% must be used for capital improvements for tourism related capital projects, and 1% must be used for property tax relief to cover salaries and other operating expenditures due to tourism. What we funded was additional funding for the Ashley River Crossing project, and then 2.5 million for the Ashley River Walk. And that is the budget there. First column is capital improvements, second is property tax relief. Any questions there?
Nope.
Okay, moving on, hospitality fee fund. This is a long budget, so I apologize. Draft budget includes a transfer into the general fund for the impact of tourism. Includes all the contractual management agreement items typically paid from this fund, a contribution to the King Street bid, funding for the Lockwood Drive knee wall, and then continued funding for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers low battery extension at phase. So this is why I say it's long, and there's like 3 pages of this. This is the revenue, and then all the transfers out to the general fund for projects and maintenance of our facilities, the ballpark, the tennis center, and then all the operating expenditures that we transfer out.
And Mayor, Councilmember Waring has his hand up.
Okay, Councilmember Waring. Is he on mute?
I think he just disappeared.
Yeah. How much is the knee wall funding?
I'll show you the capital projects.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Then we also have, we pay for entertainment district police salaries out of this. These are all of the contracts that we have with the International African American Museum, the Gilliard Management Corp, Children's Museum, Charleston Museum, and the Gibbs Museum. And then we also have the Gilliard Center operating costs that we pay out of this fund. And then monument maintenance.
Mayor, that's okay. Mayor, Councilmember Greg has his hand up.
Councilmember Greg, calling you.
Thank you. Ms. Warden, could you go back one slide on
Sure.
I know we talked about the aquarium.
That's
guess-
an ATAX, Councilmember Greg.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know if that came out of hospitality. I saw the other museums here, so I didn't know if that's how that was. I assumed that would be in the same group, but okay, got it. Thank you.
I can go back if you want, so I can show that to you.
I'll just look at these when.
Let me call you right back.
Okay.
Mayor, Councilmember Parker has her hand up.
All right, Councilmember Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The hospitality fees, these aren't decided by a committee, correct? These are just, how do you all come up with the allocation?
I'm sorry, Councilmember Parker, I can't hear you.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry.
He's asking how we come up with hospitality tax breakdown on where it can go. Yeah.
These are pretty standard, Councilmember Parker, for the transfer into the general fund for tourism related expenditures that we cover out of the general fund. That could be salaries and some operating expenses. And then we have all of the agreements that we have. I mean, this is pretty much standard every year, just depending on the amount. And then we usually fund a couple of projects.
Okay, thank you.
And yeah, and just for clarity for everyone, I mean, as you all are aware, I think it is also mandated on how it's restricted on how it's spent by state law.
Understood. And then just a follow-up, a lot of these are requests, obviously, that they made.
They're not requests, they are contracts that we have with the other
Okay.
organizations. Yeah, long-term
Okay.
contracts. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and then seawall bond debt service, and then we cover second Sunday ESPN Classic, and that's where the bid contribution is. Councilman Waring, I thought I had the two individual. I'll get you the knee wall. Just I have somebody working on it.
That's okay. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry about that. Okay, and that's okay. So let me go back. Sorry about that. Amended budget for 2025. The only thing we have here is just the transfer out to the capital improvement plan or improvement fund. Sorry. And that is just a reduction in the transfer out to the capital improvement fund due to transferring the funding to the water plan study and the contract with JMT for the Lockwood Drive knee wall.
Councilmember Parker, did you still have your hand up, or is that from earlier?
All good.
Okay, so that was it for the amended, and those are the two where we're just moving the money for hospitality. And Councilmember Waring, the knee wall is 2.6 million.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have a knee wall question as well. This is
Okay.
Councilman Gregory. That 2 million for the knee wall, is that going to be coming out every year henceforth? I thought we were unless I missed something, that we were only in the design phase of the knee wall, and that's what we voted on.
We've actually voted to, I think it's a 2-year, $5 million total, and it's to actually construct it. And just while it's no guarantee, there's a good chance that we will be able to get reimbursed for part of this from the Army Corps from the tidal and inland flooding, because it would ultimately work with a system that's being designed holistically for stormwater and surge.
So our approval is for a 2-year period to get to the 5 mil.
Right.
Okay, and the reason why I'm asking is because the seawall has been in there for what, almost 50, 60 million now on the seawall. And I just want to make sure that, you know, what we're voting on is not similar. And by that I mean, the seawall has been in there for years now.
Right. The design for the perimeter protection is separate from this, but yes, it's been part of the budget for a while. It's been moved around a little bit, been reduced, been added back to, and this is separate from that.
Yeah, I understand. I just wanted to make sure of the time period. and it's a 2-year, okay.
And Councilmember Gregory,
Yeah.
this will be the only hospitality funds towards the knee wall.
Okay, thank you.
Right.
And Mayor, Councilmember Waring has his hand up.
Yep, Councilmember Waring.
Yeah, I think the knee wall is just part of the continuous same discussion. This is a part that's going around Lockwood. Am I correct?
That's right. Goes
Yeah.
from basically the Army Reserve to the variety store.
That's right. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions that I can't see? All right, Ms. Wharton.
Okay, so we will move on to general fund and enterprise funds budgets. Right now we have a balanced budget. There's some discussion at the end regarding some compensation, but for right now it is balanced. As you can see. I'll just go into some detail. This isn't the best one to talk about. 2025 to 2026 comparison, you can see revenues. General fund revenues increased by 26.7 million. Enterprise fund revenues by 31.3 million. And expenditures increased by 26.7 million. And the same for total expenditures. I'm not going to a little bit more detail. So the biggest increases in revenue were property taxes, business licenses, local option sales tax, permits and fees, and transfers in. Property taxes is just based on increases in assessed values and collection trends. Business licenses, we have collected $57 million to date. So we are comfortable with our number to increase that to 58. And then this also includes the addition of subclassifications for accommodations and short-term rentals. The estimated additional revenue for that was 2.3 million, which brings us to the 60.5 for licenses. Local option sales tax is based on historical trend, and that is Charleston County only. Permits and fees is based on current year trend and estimate of future development. And the transfer in increase is both from tourism and from the enterprise funds, just increases in those transfers. Parking is mostly due to the transfer in for the parking garage maintenance project. Any
Uh,
questions on those?
Yeah. Ms. Ms.
Councilman
Wharton.
Ware, you go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Ms. Wharton, the business license, we got to bump up by 15%. Is that an unusual year? Or is that with
I
trend?
think a little, mostly because of that new subclassification, Councilor Ware, and we have seen, we budgeted $52 million last year. We're
Yeah.
at 57 million right now, so the trend has been really healthy with business licenses. So with that, and then the addition of the subclassifications is really what that large increase is.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
Yeah.
Any other questions on revenues? Okay. And then just so,
Mayor.
sorry.
Councilmember Parker has her
Yep.
hand up.
Councilman Parker?
Thank you, Brett. Amy, better late than never, but just remind me the parking and the hotel fees that we raised a year or two ago. Can you just remind me what the fee is for the hotels in the garages again?
I can tell you that as soon as somebody gives me that, I don't have it off the top of my head, Councilmember Parker, but I'll give it to you in just a second. I'll have somebody working on that right now.
Right, thank you.
And then this is just a pie chart for our revenue by category, just to kind of give you a visual of it. Okay, moving on, largest expenditures increases by function. So for general government, public safety, culture and recreation, debt service, and then parking were our biggest increases. General government is mostly due to salaries and benefits, IT programs, rents and insurance. And then public safety is salary and benefits. We also have an additional 15 firefighters in this budget. And then culture and recreation, it's just salaries and benefits. Debt service, it's the additional bond for the West Ashley office building, an additional debt service for the fire training building. We have a Motorola lease and a revolving loan for fire station number 8. And then parking again is due to the maintenance project. Any questions?
Any other questions on that? Yeah.
And then that's just a pie graph.
Well, second thought, back to parking, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
Is any consideration in that at all for this Wentworth Street parking garage that, is deal between the College of Charleston and
No,
so no consideration for this budget?
No.
no, those are all our parking garages.
Okay, good deal.
Councilmember
other
Parker,
questions?
we went from 125 to 130 for hotels. Okay. I'm sorry, Mayor, go ahead.
Can you say that one more time? You said
Yep.
25?
125 to
125.
130.
Well, I guess I mean per car. Sorry. I mean, what are the hotels? What do we charge the hotels?
Space.
It's for the spaces, so.
We charge per space, for a month.
Okay, understood. So Councilmember Seekings, can I just ask you, you remember this a year or two ago, correct? I mean, I know you do.
I do.
What are the hotels charging more? I mean, what was the change? I guess I'm curious what the additional revenue, did it help? Did it hurt? Are we in
Well,
line?
we only kicked up our revenue by $5 a space, which, as you might recall, I thought should be a little bit higher. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows by hotel how much they bumped up their numbers, but they're passing it through for sure. I think it certainly increased our revenue because we know how many spaces we rent to the hotels, times that by $5. That's what increased our revenue. And I think we've still got some room to move there.
Yeah.
Okay, have we looked into it? I'm just curious. Again, this is another potential source that we've been, in our meeting on, Thursday. And I know this wasn't
Well,
really hot, but
we did just, yeah, we could certainly look at it again. We did, to your point, just look at it and just increased it a little over a year ago. But we did just, in fairness to the hotels, we did just increase their business license fees by creating that subcategory that's going to be pretty significant to them. So we're certainly getting some more revenue off of the hospitality industry for sure.
okay.
Let me
understood.
just clarify too, all the increases, because we increased the hotel rate. We also increased the lost ticket rate from $30 to $50. And then in 2025, we raised the monthly fee by $5. So we've done some very recent increases to parking.
Okay, I was specifically about the hotel, but okay, thank you. Are we in line with other municipalities?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we're a little bit less than the county. I'd have to go back and look at that again, but yeah, we're a little bit less than most of the private garages around here. There's no other municipal garages here other than the county garages.
I mean, in other areas.
I'd have to go and look again. We did that last year. I don't know what they are, if they've changed their rates or not. So we can look at that and get back to you.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think I know what Council Lady Park is referring to. When we rent a space to a hotel, and Mike, you were the one that, Councilman Seekins, you were the one that brought this to council last year. I don't know, we let them have it for, let's call it $25 a day, and they were, marking it up substantially to the person renting the room. And then that's when you say there was plenty of space there to increase. And so if I'm hearing correctly, the answer Councilwoman Parker was we increased it $5 a month from $125 a month to
No, I'm sorry. I gave you the wrong thing. I was giving you regular monthly parkers. For hotels, we increased it from $20 to $30 a night.
Okay, all right. I think that's what you were kind of getting at.
Correct.
I remember
And
something
think,
about
like,
that too. Yeah.
And again, if hotels are charging 50 or we have some of the hotels are charging 50 and we're only charging them 30. I just didn't know where. I know that's kind of where we landed a couple or a year ago, but
Yeah, it's a good point.
But Mr. Mayor, if I heard you correctly, you said that we, and I think Ms. Wharton, we adjusting the business license fees for hotel to kind of maybe make up for some of that. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yes. Yeah, that was the subcategories that we've created, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Wharton, but that's largely directed at hospitality. So
It's accommodations and short-term rentals. Yes.
accommodations, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's part of that large increase, Councilmember Waring, that you pointed out relating to business license fees. And again,
Gotcha. Yeah.
big skip from year over year, but wouldn't be we shouldn't expect that percentage increase next year.
Right. Would be nice.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, any other questions on this? All right, that I'll turn it back over to Ms. Wharton.
Show you expenditures by department, and the largest ones are highlighted there: BFRC, executive, fire, information technology, police, and non-departmental, and then of course parking again. And for BFRC, it's rent and insurance and additional subscription with Workday to further expand Workday efficiency. Executive is new positions in the city website redesign, fire, salary, and benefits, and the addition of the 15 firefighters. Information technology, new projects for security maintenance and enhancements, and then police, mostly salaries and benefits, body worn cameras, and their duty weapon transition. And then non-department is debt and then reduction in salary savings, parking as the maintenance projects again. Any questions on any of that? Okay. And then that's just a graph of expenditures by department. Visual. And then,
So-
any questions? I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's just an observation, Mr. Mayor. So police and fire is about 150 million or so. And our total collection and from property taxes is about what, as a previous slide back, but
I can go back. It's,
I mean,
what you're getting at is it's 125% of our property taxes,
there you
Councilmember.
go. All right,
Okay,
thank you.
we have public safety, oops, sorry, is 166 million.
Wow.
Property taxes is 132.6 million.
We have a wonderful stream of revenue.
Okay.
Multiple, right?
Right.
So just what's included in the budget, total new programs requested was $20.9 million. We funded 5.4 million, which is about 25.8%. 2.9 million of that is coming from other funding sources. So the net impact to the budget is 2.4 million. We had 107 staffing requests. We funded 29. This budget includes a 2% COLA for all employees and also includes $731,000 to place eligible employees at the minimum of their grade per the compensation study. Summary, for BFRC, there was 4 positions requested. Revenue collections, code enforcement, revenue collections, digital service staff, and then the Dock Streets theater production manager and part-time stagehand. Revenue collections positions will be covered by additional revenue generated by those positions, and then Dock Street positions will be partially covered by additional revenues generated. Development services, they asked to reclassify the lead stormwater inspector to infrastructure inspection manager. And then we have funded that by stormwater, and the other part is general fund. And a civil engineer technician funded 35% by the general fund and 65% by stormwater. Fire asked for a suicide, cancer, cardiovascular program, MUSC resilient responder program, and various equipment and supplies for prevention. That is the 15 personnel needed that we included. Life safety equipment, fire shop equipment, upgrade assistant fire marshal to deputy fire marshal. Executive, a paralegal for the prosecutor's office, and then for public information, a multimedia specialist, and then a redesign of our city website. That will be a contract. Human resources, they have 1 new position, a senior HR generalist for performance. They have some position upgrades for management positions, HR business partner to an HR generalist for knowledge management, and an HR clerk to admin 3. Some additional travel and training, and then professional contract for compensation study support. Information technology has a lot of various projects and software just to update and improve technological infrastructure and keep our systems operational, safe, and relevant. Mobility and tourism, a tourism director who will be covered by additional tourism funds transferred into the general fund. And then parks is a mechanical systems manager, and then various repairs and improvements to our city facilities, and additional funding for gateway landscape enhancements. Police, they have 1 personnel, an elder victim advocate that was previously grant funded, their duty weapons transition, and then a classroom trailer rental for their CPD range.
Ms. Wharton.
Yes,
Can you go back to the gateway enhancements?
yes.
Can you break that out? What does that mean in terms of dollars?
That's an excellent question. And I know that somebody will get that for me pretty soon.
Okay. All right.
For, sorry, I'll get back to you on that one.
Okay.
Recreation, 1 position upgrade. It was a gymnastics coordinator upgrade to a gymnastics manager, and then one new position at the golf course. And that answer is 250,000, Councilmember Waring.
Okay.
And then traffic and transportation, there was one position upgrade from assistant design specialist to a design specialist, and then a road vista sign retro reflectometer, which tests the reflection of the signs of our street signs to make sure that they're bright enough. In case you wanted to know what a retro reflectometer is. Okay. Any questions on any of those items? All right, so then the additional discussion, there was a discussion on increasing the COLA for employees to 3%. The additional cost to fund this would be $1.7 million. We would need to increase millage in order to fund that. Value of a mill is approximately $2 million. So we would need a 0.8 mil increase to fund the additional 1% COLA. So I have some examples of what that would look like to a taxpayer. Charleston County 4% property. It would be $18. Or 13 over increase over 2025 would be $13.20 over base. It would be $18. And then 6% 4% Berkeley County. It's a little bit higher. Be $115.20. 6% property in Charleston County. This is based on obviously a $600,000 house, $22.80. And then Berkeley County will be $124.80.
Oh.
We were also asked to show our net millage history. So for Berkeley County, even though our mills are 82 in total, our net millage is 72.8 because of the local option sales tax. And then for Charleston County, I somehow missed Charleston County. I'm sorry. I skipped right over Charleston County. Charleston County is 61.3 is our net millage.
But if you go back, well, let me get recognized. No. If you
Yeah,
go back,
go ahead. Sorry.
thank you. If you go back to 09,
Mm-hmm.
the county's net millage rate was 61.4. And then here we are 26 years later, and the millage rate is 61.3. Now it's bumped up at times past, but the county also gives back, they give the local option sales tax back to the taxpayers. Now, I don't know what percentage they keep versus gives back, but the local option sales tax has proven to be very beneficial to property tax owners by giving it back to the taxpayers. So I'll be interested to see what ours was over the last several years. So help us on this part with, is that Berkeley County above us?
No, this is total millage, our operating millage, and then this is what the net millage is.
Okay, gotcha.
Not operating. I mean, that's total millage, not just operating.
So that's after lost revenue has been considered.
Right.
Gotcha.
So this is what everybody would pay on their tax bill.
Right.
Councilmember Gregg has his hand up.
Councilmember Gregg, I think I know where this is going, and Jessica, go ahead.
I've only been saying this for 3 years. Can you just bump over to the Berkeley County?
I can.
So 61.3 and 72.8. I mean, we're paying 11.5 mils more effectively in Berkeley County. I just wanted to get the number.
Yes, sir.
I think, yeah, and Councilmember Seekings and I have talked about this, Councilman Gregg, about how to strategically go to the legislature to allow municipalities. I'll give full credit to Councilmember Seekings for work, talking us through. I know you're aware of this, but being surgical about allowing municipalities, say over 100,000 people, to blend their millage so that you don't have one part of the city paying different millage than another.
Well, hopefully you
which I
can
think
see
is
why I'm not
something you've been preaching. Yeah.
in favor of a tax increase. Well, it's going to be $11
Right.
for a Charleston County resident. It's 100 and what was the number? 115. And I would challenge you to find a single house out here that's assessed at $600,000. It's going to be quite a bit more than that.
I honestly think it would be
Right.
hard anywhere, but we did look to see what the median was in Charleston, and that's what they gave us. But I agree, it's too low. That's $115, Councilmember Gray.
Yeah, and it's nothing. I'm not criticizing your analysis, Ms. Wharton. Just stating that I don't think there are many houses assessed at $600,000 in Berkeley County and the city.
I agree.
You'd be surprised with the 15% caps and whatnot. So the people that have been in their houses a long time may very well be in that neighborhood. It's the appraised value that we're looking at, not the assessed.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that in Berkeley County on Daniel Island, it really is tough, even at that 50% cap, to find $600,000. I mean, those numbers, and you know, you go to 6% on commercial properties where local owners are operating businesses, for instance, on King Street, that millage rate, when it goes up, really hits them hard.
Right. So if you look at our chart, in 2009, our net millage rate was 61.4. And in 2026, our net millage rate is 61.3. Again, the power of giving back the local option sales tax. Let me ask this. Again, I mean, I said this last week when we spoke, and I hear you, Councilmember Seekings, you know, on a strategy to go to, you know, members of the delegation for a strategy, but I really do believe North Charleston has to have a similar problem with Dorchester County. I would doubt that Dorchester County's millage rate is the exact same as Charleston County's. Would be interesting to see.
I think North Charleston's in 3 separate counties. Councilmember Gray.
Yeah,
Wow.
it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, there you go. So how they juggling those balls? So you've got the number one size by population state in the union, city in this state, as well as the number 3 by population city in this state, running into that problem because of, you know, different governmental bodies that they spread across.
And Columbia has the same thing too.
They do.
I mean,
So
those are the 3 major,
those are top
major
3
cities.
by population in the state. So I think the action step, you know, Councilman Member Greg, you're right in that, you know, we had this conversation several times, but boy, we need some action steps on this. Does it does any good?
So, yeah.
Go ahead.
We there's no question we do, and I think, you know, it's going to require not just the city of Charleston, as y'all are probably well aware.
Yeah.
Sometimes that backfires in the legislature if it's just Charleston. So,
Right.
Looking to have I think this is worth having a conversation with Mayor Burgess and Mayor Rickaman. And I think they'd be very supportive of, you know, as I say, surgical legislation that would allow for larger municipalities that have this unique situation, which again, I may be off, but I'm pretty sure it's just those 3, to be able to balance the scales so that the residents are all treated equally.
Right.
And Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Parker had her hand up.
Yep, Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know I shouldn't really chime in, but I am just curious. I mean, trash service, some of our landscaping services, things like that, trees work a little differently out there. Is that correct?
In terms of, like, yeah, go ahead,
Public,
Councilwoman. Go ahead.
Contracts, private contracts.
Our garbage collection is a contract in On Daniel Island, yes.
Trident
And-
waste.
Yep.
Tree pruning, all that,
That's provided by the city.
all of it?
You said tree trimming and stuff?
Yeah.
I mean, the street trees are pruned by city crews. But when you look at the vast majority of the homes in this area are in planned unit developments, and so some of those have like private amenities, and then the HOAs or the town associations or the community associations handle maintenance on those places that are part of those public amenities or amenities associated with the planned unit developments.
Okay, thanks.
Any other discussions or comments?
So we
Well,
will, I'm sorry, Mary, go ahead.
No, I just said, I was supposed to say thank you to Amy and BFRC staff for putting these things together for us. And you had something to say, Amy?
Yeah, so it was more the discussion on the additional millage for the 3% COLA and whether that was something that we wanted to do or not. We do have to get that.
Amy and Mayor,
Yeah.
Councilmember
Sorry.
Gregory has his hand up.
I have,
Okay, Councilmember Gregory.
yeah, just a couple of questions. How much bonding capacity do we have left? How much borrowing capacity do we have left?
1 moment. I have to get the most recent. I don't have my ACFR in front of me, Councilman Gregory.
Oh, you can send it. It's not a
Okay.
problem. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Councilmember Parker has her hand up.
Okay, Councilman Parker.
Yes, ma'am. Can we just discuss the loss information that we discussed at the previous meeting a little bit? I know we all probably don't need a full lesson in it, but just amount, what that means for each citizen or each taxpayer. The items we discussed.
Yeah, if you could go back, Ms. Wharton, to the millage slide, to the net millage, and
Yep. So the local option sales tax reduces the operating millage.
Specifically this year, like I said, I think most of us, we don't
It is this year.
necessarily a lesson on what it is, but just the amount this year. I understand the city's never utilized that option, but just what do those amounts look like? We talked about at the previous meeting.
When you say the amount,
so
you're talking about I'm sorry, go ahead, Mayor.
Other than raising millage.
Yeah, so if you can just, the value per mill is what? Is about $2 million per.
About 2 million, yes.
Right. So if you look at the net millage, I mean, the decrease in millage, that kind of gives you some understanding of what we're talking about.
So if we took, just making sure I understand this correctly, if we took 2 million from loss, we could raise it.
You went on mute. Ms.
All right,
Parker.
you cut out.
I'm sorry, it's so loud. If we take 2 million from loss, we can raise it a million.
We could, if we
I
don't
think
take.
she's saying
if we
it would
don't
be like
give back-
raising it a mill, or Mayor. I think that's what she's
Right.
saying. But we would have to play with the tax credit factor, Councilmember Parker, to do that. It's not going to be, it's because we're reducing the tax credit factor, not like regular millage.
Right. So
But
that's
the
what
net
I'm,
result's still the same.
Right.
that's what I'm
Right.
asking for. That information.
What are you
And-
asking for, though? Do you want a number? You want us to
Yeah.
calculate what the tax credit factor would be for $2 million?
Yes, I thought this is what we discussed at the meeting on Thursday. I know it might not be a fan of what, if everyone doesn't want to do it, but I think we talked about at least seeing the information.
This is what we talked about.
Yeah, I
net
think-
millage.
Yeah, the net millage is
Ma-
what I
Ma-
understood it to be.
Mayor, we have a number
Yep.
of council members with their hands up. So Councilmember Gregory had his hand up, then Seekings, then Waring, and then Greg.
Okay, go in that order then.
I lowered mine. I'm fine. Thank you.
All right, Seekings.
Just really briefly, I think one way to look at it, if you look at this chart on the millage, the gross and then the net millage with the full weight of loss being applied, is the percentage it reduces taxes in Charleston County. I know it's a little bit lower in Berkeley County, but effectively by putting all of loss against our tax bills, property tax bills, you're reducing property taxes by 25%. So every mill you take away from that on the backside is about a 2.25% property tax increase. And so you don't have to go back and look at sort of that mythical $600,000 house that doesn't exist. You just look at your percentage tax bill, and if every time you raise a mill, you're hitting people up for a couple of 0.5% of their tax bill.
That's a good way of looking at it. Councilmember Waring.
Yeah, I have to agree with Councilman Seekings on that. The impact on the property taxes is just for the property owner a whole lot better than frankly if it was on the millage side. And I know we've rounded at 2 million, but you know, Ms. Wharton says it's 1.7, so it's actually less than a mill to be able to give our employees a 3% cost of living increase. So I was hope we find which way to do it. But one reason I asked for this chart, and thank you also, Ms. Wharton, for at the midnight hour cranking out this information.
Right.
But you can go from 2009 all the way through to 2026, and basically our net millage rates to our taxpayers has been, virtually. We had a bump up in 2024, 67 net mills, but it has been. You should see some of these other cities. They're nowhere close to us. Our property tax bill has almost been flatlined. Now, if you look at the school board now, it's a little bit different, obviously. That's 50% of your tax bill. But again, millage rate, you're talking less than 1 mil, 0.8 mil to be able to. Remember, keep in mind that we pass in even though slight, we pass in a group medical cost onto every employee, which will reduce their net pay. So anyway. I know there's some people on this call that wasn't on the call last week, but when we show the cost of living, it's really a little bit, I'm going to say as an individual, unfair not to have the cost of medical increase closely associated with that. Anyway.
Councilman Greg, I think you had your last one.
Yes. So I guess I would like to see if we took the 2 million out of the lost credit, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but the net millage between right now Charleston County is paying 61.3 and Berkeley County is paying 72.8. That net millage difference would decrease if we took this 2 million. We need this $2 million, and we took it out of the loss credit. The Berkeley County and Charleston County taxpayers would be more in balance than they are right now. If we pass this millage increase on, we're going to further increase this discrepancy between Berkeley County and Charleston County taxpayers.
I don't see how you're calculating it.
Because
I do.
when the lost credit is much lower in Berkeley County than it is in Charleston County. So right now we're paying, and even the tax increase, if you go to Amy's projections on the tax increase, it's $11 in Charleston County. It's going to be $115 in Berkeley County.
I saw that, right.
but we will have to reduce the tax credit factor for both Berkeley County and Charleston County.
Right.
I understand, but it will, right now, there's an 11.5 mil difference between the two counties. If this $2 million were to come out of lost, that number would be lower than the difference, the net millage difference between the two counties would be less than 11.5 if the $2 million comes out of the lost credit. That's just math.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm just making the statement that there's a discrepancy, and there always has been between Charleston and Berkeley counties and the net millage. And when we talk about, a 2 mil tax increase or a 1 mil tax increase, and it's only, $11 in Charleston County, that discrepancy is much larger in Berkeley County. And the way to fix that is to take, if instead of raising millage, we can just reduce the lost credit. And I understand and I appreciate the fact that we want to talk to the folks in Columbia about trying to fix this, but quite frankly, I don't have a whole lot of faith that anything would get done there in the next decade. And Ross is chuckling, but he knows it's true. So,
Yeah.
Mayor, Councilmember Parker has her hand up.
And Councilman Parker.
You sounded excited. Either way it goes, I mean, I just hate that we're pinpointing the employees and the COLA on this. I mean, I just wish, obviously there's things we could move around to find the 2 million. I mean, obviously, and we could be talking about something else that we could be either using loss or raising millage, correct?
I'm sorry. We can the two ways for the balance for continuing expense, not a one-time expense, would be yes, breaking from tradition and using lost, not returning all of the local option sales tax, or raising millage, raising taxes.
That's the only way to get our employees to the 3% COLA?
We've cut this budget as
Or
much
we
as
cut-
we can cut it, Councilmember Parker. There's no more cutting.
But I'm saying this.
Unless we eliminate programs or
Right.
employees.
Right. So we could have funded this and we could have something else be the item that we're discussing, raising mills or using loss credit, correct?
I'm not sure I understand the question. There's something besides employees, besides the COLA. Is there something else we could have cut?
Correct.
Is that what you're asking? Well, I think we've cut this pretty significantly. We are, again, just for clarity too, we are giving $731,000 back to employees in the form of adjustments to their grades, which is a increase to employees, albeit justified by this compensation study. So net going back to employees is really, I guess, is the 2% plus the 700,000. And then the other thing we're committing to for the upcoming calendar year to go back to employees that would probably get us well over the 3% would be the performance-based bonuses based on first money out on savings. But we've got to have the compensation study completed and the ability for reviews, performance reviews to be set up through Workday in order to be able to implement. So it's kind of a work in progress. And I hear everybody on their concern and desire to make sure that we're taking care of our employees, and I share that belief wholeheartedly. And we're committed to it on three fronts: the COLA, the getting the grades right, and then moving to performance-based bonuses for our staff. Now, do we want to go through the exercise to raise taxes, be it front door or back door, a millage increase or through the lost? Or do we want to try and work through get the compensation study finalized, work through this performance-based bonus structure, and to Councilwoman Parker's point, really dig into some of the programs that have been ongoing and determine whether or not we want to keep some programs in expense of making sure we have a COLA year over year that matches at minimum the Southeastern standard. I mean, I think that's something we could do and have a goal for 26.
Mayor, Councilmember Tinkler had his hand up, followed by Councilmember Waring and Parker.
Okay, Councilmember Tinkler.
Well, I think you may have answered some of my questions, but I mean, to Councilman Gregg's point, I mean, if we were to try to equalize the effective millage rates for both Charleston County and Dorchester County or Berkeley County residents, I mean, how much of an increase would that be for Charleston County? And you may not be able to answer these questions. I don't know if you could estimate, but how much would that be an increase in Charleston County? And ultimately, how much revenue would that generate? I mean, would it cover some of these things that we're trying to find revenue for?
I think if you were to, I mean, I don't know and this would be something that would have to be calculated, but Councilman Gregg makes the point that because Charleston County gets more of the lost money back, you could reduce that. We'd have to just do a formula to figure out exactly where that equilibrium would hit to cover this cost. It would be largely borne by Charleston County residents versus Berkeley, because more of it goes back to Charleston County now. So it would make it more equal, I guess, is the right way to describe it. Okay, so, and we can work on that just so we can get you the number. I just don't know it off the top of my head, and I think it'll take a little bit of work to get to that number. Who was second? Was Tinkler Waring?
Councilmember.
Let me defer to Councilwoman Parker, and then I'll speak after her.
Okay, Councilwoman Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, just looking for a number. I think that the lot, if we took X dollars, $1 million, $2 million from loss credit, what does that cost the average median 600K, all the numbers you put together, it was for the millage. What does that keep us from giving back to the citizens? Does that make sense? Am I asking this correctly, Ms. Wharton?
I can't give that to you right now, but we have to do the calculation because we need to figure out what the tax credit factor would need to be reduced to and then run the number. So it's not something I can just give you right this second.
Okay. I'm just, because I think we discussed all of that on Thursday. That's why I was asking for those numbers. Thank you.
Okay.
Councilman Waring.
Yeah, I got a couple of questions and observations. Ms. Wharton, from a bonding capacity, which way would be, how would it affect our bonding capacity when it comes to, or if it does at all, paying for it out of millage versus lost revenue?
I don't think it necessarily matters, Councilmember Waring, just as long as our revenues don't decrease, right? I mean, that's what they're more looking at, making sure that we're stable. So I
Okay.
don't think it matters whether it's millage or local
I
option
think-
sales tax.
Okay, good. Well, number one, it's a minor amount of 1.7 million out of $380 million budget. See, one of the things, and it is somebody, I don't know who said it, but somebody made mention it, kind of regretful, and I'm paraphrasing, that it comes down to this, 3% versus 2.6 COLA. But I think we have to recognize what we have done throughout, in particular, the last year, in an effort to get a TIF pass. We, the overwhelming majority of us, voted for future funding, basically 400 or 450 million, whatever the number is going to be for the Union Pier property. So what did we do? Some of the action steps that we did to help that to occur. We gave away 33,000 square feet of office space that we owned and had no debt. Okay. The school district took people from rental space and put them in that space. Our people went to rental property, which we had to appropriate more money to pay for that rental space. So that part of that revenue isn't there today to solve this problem. The second thing is to get the county on board. We, all of us, not just the mayor, the overwhelming majority of us voted to give those parking spaces to the county in the Cumberland Street garage. That was revenue that was lost, okay? In an effort to get future revenues. Now, there's no doubt about it. 10 years from now, it's going to look like this council made a very 10, 15 years from now, very wise choices. But our budget year, they got benefits, lowered costs in the case of the school district, assets. The county got revenue. They didn't pick up expenses, basically. They netted revenue, and we lost revenue and picked up expenses in an effort to get future revenues down the line. And I'm not going to speak against the TIF. Every TIF in this city virtually has benefited this city greatly. But to be in the tight position we are today is because we voted for future revenues. Now, it's kind of coming down to, as I said, treating employees a little bit fairly. If we didn't have to pass on this healthcare increase, then maybe the 2.6 could fly. But the reality is we passed on healthcare costs. I believe 3% certainly makes sense. But for those action steps that we took as a city and a council for future revenues, we wouldn't even be talking about this. We could do that, balance the budget, and it wouldn't have been an issue at all. So, but when you have employees move out of 33,000 square feet, spread them around to 3 or 4 different locations, I'm concerned about our employee morale. Now, they used to could walk from a parking garage that was adjoining to the building. Now, CCSD employees walk from the parking spaces into the building. Our employees had to move elsewhere, and there's some pain involved with this. And this is part of that pain. Our employees have certainly experienced some pain. They can't speak for themselves. We can, because they work in a right to work state. And if they're perceived as being disgruntled, they could be fired. But as a city council person, we get to speak on behalf of employees as well as ourselves. Put yourself in that position. What happens if you were in one of those buildings? And now you're in another space, you're having to drive further downtown, park in a surface parking lot. I think morale, we need to do something at the very least for morale. There's no pay raise. All we're talking about is trying to stay even with inflation. And the mayor rightly pointed out last week that the federal rate is 2.6%. Now, I'm not even arguing with that, but that federal rate, as I said last week, does not include the passage of healthcare cost increase, which is just a reality in doing business. The city actually pays an overwhelming share of that healthcare cost. It's still a great deal for employees. They never see the full cost, and I know we show them sometimes, but all employees know is they net pay. Okay, that's what they take care of their families on. In my opinion, on a $380 million budget, our debate right now is hopefully how do we pay for it, whether it's lost revenues, or millage rate. I think the millage rate is the better way to go. But if it comes to the employees, in my entire tenure on this council, I've never voted to use lost revenue, but I'll violate that to take care of our employees. I can go either way on it.
You make a really good point. You bring up a very good point, and I think we all agree that we want to do everything we can to make sure our employees are taken care of and that their morale is high. And it has been disruptive, no question about it, moving out of Calhoun Street, and we have made sacrifices, and the employees have made sacrifices. And there's some ongoing issues with the new landlord that we're dealing with, and I won't even get into. But you bring up the union peer TIF, and one thing here's an idea, and perhaps maybe even a recommendation, that we do have money coming back to us from the port related to the creation of the TIF. And we've been going back and forth. Of course, there's been some changes over at the port over the details of that money. But I think, while it is a one-time funding that we're working out on what the details of the payments would be, it wouldn't be a recurring revenue, is I guess my point. But if there's an opportunity for the funding some of the funding that comes out of that could be dedicated towards getting us to a 3% COLA, I'm all for it. And there should be significantly more funding than that would be coming in. But again, it's because it's not a recurring revenue, we'd have to be careful about it. But since you brought up the union peer TIF, and that is undefined revenue, but I would say more than what would get us to a 3% COLA is very safely assured. Perhaps that's something that we could tie to this. We could say we'll move forward with the budget is proposed with the condition that the first, whatever it is, the additional $1.7 million to get to a 3% COLA for employees would be the first money out of the agreement with the finalized agreement with the port.
Mayor, Councilmember Gregory has his hand up.
Yes.
Councilmember Gregory.
Can't we find that in a different way? Can we do a 0.5% cut across the board somehow? It's not a lot of money we're talking about from programs or wherever.
Well, again, we've been beating up the budget, and
I understand. I clearly understand, but I do think that we've got to put our employees first. They're the backbone of this city, and I just think that when we're talking about 1%, let's find the damn money and make sure that they're taken care of from wherever.
Mayor, Councilmember Appel has his hand up, followed by Councilmember Parker.
Councilmember Appel, then Parker.
Councilmember Parker can go ahead of me.
Okay, Councilmember Parker.
It's okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. One of y'all go.
Okay, yeah, we gotta wind this down. So listen, I think it's been a tough year for our employees. It's been a tough year for a lot of people that are making sort of blue collar wages around this country. Rich people are doing just fine in America and in Charleston. And so when we think about where this impact is going to be felt most significantly, people that own primary residences in the state of South Carolina and are assessed at 4% do not pay a lot in property taxes. They pay unbelievably low property taxes when compared with other states in the region. That 4% method is extraordinarily beneficial to primary residences, especially when you factor in the 100% generous loss credit, as Councilmember Waring has pointed out, and you look back at 2009 and you see a flat line. So when we're talking about, do we add a 2 mil increase? Do we roll back the lost a little bit? Regular people, voters, people that live in their primary residences that are taxed and assessed at 4% are not going to be seeing a big tax increase at all. Now, to be fair, and this is a point Councilman Seekings makes often in these discussions, and he's 100% right, if you own a second home, a third home, a fourth home, or fifth home, or you own a business and you're assessed at 6%, you pay high property taxes, especially when compared to people that live in their primary residences. And the average person might be thinking, oh gosh, the difference between 4% and 6%, it seems small. But when you run the math and you see how that number works out, when you calculate the millage, it's significant. So, we looked earlier during the budget presentation about a shockingly good year in business license tax revenue. Now, some of that is due to the adjustments we're making for hotels and accommodations uses, no doubt. But I think that it doesn't account for all of it. It certainly doesn't account for the entire 15%. The fact that that number is so high is an indication that businesses in the city of Charleston are having a great year, and great for them. It shows that our retail economy is going strong. Business is going strong in a lot of ways. So I think when we talk about where this tax increase, should we decide to do it, whether through a millage increase or a minimal lost rollback, is felt, either way, it's not going to be felt significantly on people that live in their homes, particularly people that have lived in their homes for a long time and have seen perhaps, so Burns Downs, my old neighborhood, I'll give you an example. There are people who bought that house for $50,000 in the 90s, and it might be worth close to $1 million right now on the market. But when you factor in that 15% cap on reassessments, those types of people, the regular old Charleston people that have lived in their house forever, they are such beneficiaries of the current property tax scheme we're operating on. They are not going to be feeling the impact. The people that are going to be feeling the impact are rich people that just bought new primary residences at $1 million plus and are being trued up, with the ATI, or people with second and multiple homes and business owners. They are the ones that are going to be, they're the ones that are going to be facing more of the burden. But when we talk about burden, when you're talking about a 2 mil increase, when you're talking about a minimal rollback of the lost, it's not, I would submit it's not that significant, particularly when you factor in how important an increase in COLA will be for our city employees, which again, when we say city employees, we're talking about police officers, we're talking about firefighters, we're talking about sanitation workers. Everybody that works at the city is extraordinarily important. No, don't get me wrong, but the vast majority of our workforce is public safety, sanitation, things of that nature. That's where the bulk of the employees come in. So we really have to decide, play some trade-offs. I mean, fortunately, this is nothing like the discussions we were having in 2020 and in 2021. Okay, so for our new friends on council and the new folks that are coming in, we're light years in better position now than we were back then, obviously. So it really just comes down to a minor tax increase that will not be significantly felt by voters and resident people that have been living in their house for a long time, or putting this off for a future date. So I just wanted to throw those considerations out there. I think this is a good discussion. I think Mayor and his team have done a great job with Amy and her department on getting us to this point that we are now. A lot of great work has been done to even get it to this point. But we're like on the 2 yard line here. We got some options, and I think we just got to decide if we want to, what direction we want to go in. So thank y'all.
Yep. Councilwoman Parker?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Am I correct? The ATAX money, we can utilize some of that for employee pay, correct?
No.
Is there, what, no?
No.
I thought back to that fund.
So there is
Hospitality
municipal
tax, you can.
accommodations tax that gets transferred into the general fund for property tax relief. So we've already done that. It's already included in this budget.
Okay, and it was the maximum amount.
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So, again, guys, I mean, I certainly hear what you're saying, Councilmember Rappel, and respect it. The only thing I would say is that there's no minimum or no minor tax increase. Just there are people that will be up in arms about this, just seeing it as a tax increase. Now, Councilman Gregory, you make a good point. Let's just find it somewhere. It's not a lot of money. And it isn't, but I mean, I do want to, again, compliment Amy and her staff for really turning over every rock. We've got to this point, guys, because we got hit pretty hard by an unforeseen cost increase, a significant cost increase, primarily on insurance, right? And to Councilmember Waring's point, I mean, part of that is picked up, a respect by employees as well. So what I'll go back to again is if we can agree to the budget proposed with the 2% COLA, and we make a commitment to figuring out how to get that COLA to 3% for 26 through additional revenues that will be coming in. And I feel pretty confident, like I mentioned the TIF and the partnership with the port, or the agreement with the port, but I think we could probably figure out potentially a few other opportunities there. My point is, I think we can get there without raising taxes. Or adjusting the loss, because it's not a huge number, as has been pointed out. Now, I don't have it defined 100% right now, but I think we could do a little bit of additional digging and come up with it. And again, with the understanding that it would be one-time, potential for 26, it would be one-time revenue, and we would need to be looking at the COLA, the compensation study, and various programs at the city in 26. Once we have all of these other things that we've been working on housekeeping-wise, to make sure our employees are well taken care of. But it's just, we don't have it all locked down quite yet. And I agree it's taken way too much time, but it's just the reality that we're faced with right now. And so for the small amount of money that we're trying to get to take care of our employees, I would urge council to allow us to figure out that funding gap without raising taxes or without doing the loss. And I think we can. I do think we can.
Mayor, Councilmember Waring has his hand up, and Councilmember Parker, did you still oh, never mind. Just Councilmember Waring.
All right, Councilmember Waring.
All right. So number one, I think it's, and I know you know this too, but I think it's sound budgeting when you do it with reoccurring revenues. I do think that gets
Agreed.
our bonding. Okay. And I think there's another little pocket, if you will. There's supposed to be a settlement with the law school for $4 million. Again, that's not whenever that thing closes, and that may close prior to whatever happens with the port. But I would say going forward, we need to solve this based on reoccurring revenues, not I hear you.
No,
on the
I would
board.
not want to. Yeah, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm with you completely.
Okay.
I think just my concern is that we don't have the final output of the compensation study, for example, and that's going to help dictate, where we need to be in grades. And if we do a tax increase, if that tells us instead of 2 mills, we need 3 mills to just keep everybody where they need to be, well, then I don't want to do this twice in a row. Does that make sense? Or it may tell us that we're, I don't think it will, but that it doesn't need as much of a millage increase. It's just there's some information that has not been fully defined because we want to get it as accurate as possible with job descriptions and grades and working with all of the staff. And we're in the thick of that right now. It's just not complete yet.
Well, I understand that. I just think it's going to take a little bit longer than, let's say the first 3 months of the year. I think it's going to take a little longer than just in case that happens. I actually, what Councilman Gregory said is almost a little, and believe me, I know y'all been using the pencil eraser a lot to get the budget where we have been, where we are now, but almost a 0.5% cut across the board gets us there without having to touch, millage increases or lost revenue.
And it's reoccurring.
And it is reoccurring, so it gets back down to sound budgeting. But the part about going forward with a promise, I think these employees need to be reassured. In particular, they had the last 12 months, they had a tough year, Others probably feel better about their work environment. And again, I'm referring to the CCSD employees. They got a good deal out of it. Shit, again, I voted for it and I would vote for it again because the global view makes sense, for the Ports Authority property to have the infrastructure funded appropriately. But we can, just as we dot the I and cross the T on all the transactions involving the port property, we need to dot the I and cross the T's when we vote on what budget we're going to send to the newspaper for people to see. And I think you do that with reoccurring revenues, which you've agreed to. So I think either you do it, if you don't want the millage increase, I've never done it before, but I'm saying it publicly for these employees. I'll do the lost revenue for employees. But it sure would be good to see what a 0.5% or maybe even a 0.25% cut across the board does. You're just talking about 1.7 million out of $380 million budget.
What I might recommend then, if that's the way the majority is interested in going, is and Ms. Wharton, throw something at me if you think this is be overly problematic. I would rather say we'll do I would say 2.6, which is the Southeast region average for CPI. But if it's will of the council to do 3%, and again, I don't want to argue against the employees by any stretch. I want to support them. I would say instead of just cutting across the board, that that we would look at taking that 1.7 million instead of raising taxes or addressing loss out of new programs, and then when we are able to get some of this revenue in, be it through the law school transaction or be it through the agreement with the port, we can implement those new programs at that point. So instead of just across the board, we take it out of the new programs, and look to fund those as the revenue comes in, would be my suggestion.
That's a good suggestion.
I could go for that. Let's leave taxes alone.
I agree with that as well.
Yeah, and lost revenue on that sounds a great idea, Mr. Mayor. Some of those other revenue, plus some of this new program, some of that, are those reoccurring or are they going to be one-time expenses?
Most
No,
of
they're
them-
all reoccurring here.
No, they're one time. A lot of them are one time that are already funded by
Oh, they
other
are.
revenue sources. So, and some of those new programs we can't cut. So we'll look at new programs and base budget increases because some of the new programs we can't cut for police and fire, especially. So we'll go through both.
Okay.
That'll work.
It works for me.
Yep.
So
So the proposal is for 3%, Mr. Mayor?
I hope so.
y'all are making me mad.
I mean, who's gonna make the motion?
I move for the 3%.
I'll second. Oh, Mr. Mayor, you second. All right.
Get me in trouble.
We're all in this together. What are you talking
We are
about?
all in this together.
Fair enough. Okay, well, we have a motion, and this just for clarity, for discussion, I do want to just make sure we're clear on this. We're tasking this warden to go through we're prioritizing the 3%, and asking her to find approximately $1.7 million is that the number? I just want to make sure we're clear on this.
That's the number.
Jordan,
Mayor, Council.
Let me just finish this point. Through new programs and or what's available and budgeted.
Base
Okay.
budget, yes.
Somebody else has their hand up?
Yes, sir. Councilmember Brady.
Councilmember Brady.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think because it's a workshop, we can't take official action. So I don't know that we can do a motion because it is merely a workshop versus an actual
There's
meeting.
a parliamentarian. Okay, fair enough. Wasn't aware. I'll take your word for it.
Mayor, I think if you just want to get a general recommendation, so Amy has some guidance, because the ad has to go to the paper on Wednesday.
It would just be a recommendation to find something to balance the budget and find the difference in what we got and where we want to be and bring it to council on Wednesday.
I'm not going to get that done by Wednesday. So we're going to send the budget we have with the 2%. And then whatever changes we need to make, we'll have to do on the floor of council on first reading.
That sounds good.
Works for me.
Anybody opposed to that? Yeah, that's a recommendation. Okay.
But what will be coming to council? What will be coming to council on Wednesday will be what?
2%.
There's nothing on Wednesday. I just need to
2%,
send the ad into the paper Wednesday for it to be advertised on Sunday because we have 2 weeks. We have to do it before first reading. It's state law. So that's what I'll have to send in the 2% budget. Then if we want to have another workshop again to go through everything, we can. And then we'll have to make the recommendation for the changes on the floor of council of first reading.
Why don't we do this?
I have to present whatever we advertise in the paper. That's what I have to present on first reading. So then we just have to make the changes on the floor. First reading, December 2nd.
That's not a problem.
Yeah, but that's hard.
So what we'll have, let me say this, what we'll have in advance, and if anybody wants to see it via FOIA or whatever for the public, it's fine. In advance of the first reading, we will have a breakdown of how we propose to get to the 1.7 for discussion purposes at the first reading for an amendment. Does that work for everyone?
Works for me.
But I mean, what about let's think about Ms. Wharton, that's all.
Yeah, we can do that.
Well, again, this would be in advance of the first reading, which would be in a couple of weeks.
Okay.
Not on, yeah.
And we just,
to have the draft budget to you on the 18th. So what we can do is that draft budget will be this 2%, but we'll have with it what the changes would be. Does that work?
Yes.
Does that make sense what I just said?
would you mean the draft will go in, that's what will go in the paper available to the media?
Yeah. And
Okay.
then what
Yes.
I send to you on the 18th will
Yeah.
be that 2% COLA budget that we were talking about,
Okay.
right? But then with that, when I send that to y'all, I'll have the changes where we made the cuts, what we cut out, all of that, and what it will look like.
That's the
You have
recommendation.
both. Is that good?
That's the recommendation, yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let me tell you.
Well, I think this has been a robust discussion,
I
guys.
sure has.
For 1%.
Less than 1%, 40 basis points.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody's time, and we'll see you in 2 days' time.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.